Hey guys, let's go ahead and tackle Great Are You Lord. Great Are You Lord is a little bit of a different song than the rest of the songs we've learned because it's neither in 4/4 nor in 3/4. It's in a different time signature that we call 6/8. 6/8 is fairly simple to understand. There's a total of 6 eighth notes that happen over the course of a measure, and we count them simply as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, key things that make 6/8 different from 3/4 time signature is that 3/4 typically has something that repeats itself over the course of those 3 beats, whereas 6/8, the pattern tends to happen, one pattern's one way for the first 3 counts and different patterns for the last 3 counts. So in its simplest form, the kick normally happens on the 1 and the 4. So the snare is to happen on beat 4. So if I were to just strip it down to that counting, I would essentially be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's pretty much as simple as it gets. Let's add some more complexity to that. All our other numbers that aren't having a snare or kick, we're going to add the hi-hat. So essentially, if I could do this with just one hand, you could literally go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you could pretty much use that beat for the entirety of the song. You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, and so on and so forth. Now, realistically, when we're playing Cajon, we're going to use 2 hands. So let's talk about what you might do. If you're wanting to use 2 hands, here's some ideas that you could do. You could have your hand here just play 8 notes the whole time, and your right hand, or your dominant hand, would be used to do the kick and the snare. So if I were doing that, I might go kick, snare, kick. This is a little tricky because it's hard to get your hands to fall together at the exact same time. The reason being is that for your hi-hat, your hand's not moving very much. But your snare, to get that snare sound, you need a little bit of that distance. The problem is if your hands are both traveling at different distances, they're likely to arrive at slightly different times. So it takes a little effort to get the hang of being able to get your hand to start at a higher distance, but land at the same time. As you can see, this is somewhere that I need to grow as well. All right. The final thing you can do is if you want to get the hang of doing this in 16th notes, then all you have to do is you got to count 1 and so if you're counting as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, your 16th notes are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And that's pretty straightforward. You just take your one hand rhythm that you were doing earlier, and then you add your alternating hand in between every single one of those beats. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. This is how I recommend that you practice 6/8 in general, because if you can get your hands alternating for that portion, then it'll give you more freedom to add other rhythms later. So if you want to go like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. By having that alternating hand in there, it gives you a lot more freedom to do some really cool things later. All right, that being said, let's talk through Great Are You Lord. So first things first, we're out for the first intro, out for verse 1, out for chorus 1, out for the instrumental 1. There is some light cymbals going on in the song, but we're not going to worry about playing that. Verse 2. So when you say, you give life, that first line is just kick and snare. There's absolutely no hi-hat. So you give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness. You have to pardon my voice. Now, we get to the third line of verse 2. Now we actually add in our hi-hats. So for now, I'm going to use my 16th note pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. You give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, when you play verse 2, save some of that energy in your hands because you're going to need a little bit more volume for the chorus that follows. So here's chorus 2. 1, 2, 3, same pattern. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you. Oh, next chorus is the same thing. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All right, so for this last one here, for that 5 chord at the very end, there's 4 slash marks. And the way that slashes work in 6/8 is that every single one of those slash represents 3 eighth notes. So the first 2 slashes, they're grouped together. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Your last 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? For your last 2 slash marks, I need you to circle the second slash. So that means our pattern's going to stop on beat 4. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we stop. Okay? So let's practice that last line. So we pour out our praise to you only. And we're out. I probably did that incorrectly the first time when I was playing through the chorus. But now that I've spoken it through, I've got it right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we pour out our praise to you only. And that's it. We're out for instrumental 2. Bridge 1. Bridge 1's tricky. Because bridge 1, we're not out for the entire thing. We're only out for the first 2 lines. For the second line, great. We start coming in with our kick, but in a non-traditional spot. Normally our kick comes in on beat 1 and our snare's on 4. But now what they're going to do is they're going to have the kick on beat 4 and nothing on 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so that means that for the Great Are You, Lord, on the 4 chord there, we've got 2 sets of this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the word Lord, we have that pattern one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then the kick plays on beats 1 and 4 for the last portion of that. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the drummer's way of kind of telling the band, hey, we're doing something different. So if I just play that last line, it's on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. Then we switch our pattern. Nice. Now for bridge 2, this pattern continues. We just got 1 and 4 on the kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. And right here on this last group of 2, we're going to now switch to 8th notes in our kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very easy to rush. Careful not to rush. So I'll do the last line of bridge 2 so you can practice out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. Bridge 3, this pattern continues. We've got 8th notes in the kick. We've got all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Now on the Lord here, again, two groups of 6/8. The first set of 6/8 are just 8th notes. the last set of 6/8 are 16ths. Now, it's very interesting. You probably noticed that I did the first note louder than the rest of the crescendo. That's pretty popular among drum playing, is instead of just starting crescendo and starting soft, you start with a smack, and then you crescendo upward from there. So, I'm going to do Great Are You, Lord, the last line of bridge 3, so you can practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. Here we go. It's your breath in our lungs. And then that pattern's the same for the remainder of the portion. All right, we're going to do that one more time. Last line of bridge 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Practice that a few times until you get the hang of it. All right, guys, let's talk about the last few, the second page of Great Are You, Lord. For chorus 4, it's the same thing as the previous choruses. We just have kick on 1, snare on 4, and 8 notes, 16th notes throughout. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, and 3, 6, and 1, and 2, and 3. So we pour out our praise, it's your breath. And we're going to do this all the way through chorus 4, all the way through chorus 5, and then we're out for the ending. There's no hit, we're just out. So that would sound like this. I'll take the last line of chorus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we pour out our praise to you only. And then we're out. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's basically the main basic gist of how to play this tune. If you want to add some more complexity, so I would just say for like 80% of you guys, just stick with what we just did right now. For those of you guys who are just looking to add some complexity to this, the complexity comes in on the bridges. So on the bridge, let's talk about bridge 1. At the end of bridge 1, we've got this 4 on the floor. Well, I should say a kick on beat 4. So you got great are you, Lord, and then we switch to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So when we get to this pattern here, we're playing one kick every 3/8 notes. You can add some toms. You can go like 1, 2, 3, and that pattern is just 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. And key things you need to make sure is that when you're adding these toms, you don't want them to be as loud as your kick, because then it loses the effect of this swaying motion. We want this kind of to sound like a waltz. It's kind of groovy. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2. People have no trouble feeling where that downbeat is. So I'm going to intentionally keep those toms really soft. So that's how you would play that last portion of bridge 1. So I'll try that with this more advanced variation so you can hear it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. And here's where we do the pattern. 1, 2, and 3. And all the earth will shout your praise. And so on and so forth. All right. That pattern will continue through bridge 2. Bridge 2. When we switch to 8th notes in the kick, to break that pattern, well, we've already got these happening. So to make sure that there's a very clear 8th note change in the kick, you need to make sure that your kick is noticeably stronger. So I'll do that for the last line of bridge 2 to show you what that would sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord, and all the earth will shout. And this tells everybody else that you're switching to 8th notes in the kick. That's really important. I'll do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great are you, Lord. 8th notes. And all the earth. And so on and so forth. Now, bridge 3. Because we need our kicks to be significant, but we still need to add some toms, I'm going to do that with my opposite hand. So essentially, your pattern's still the same. 1, 2, and 3, and 1. But now that 2 and 3 hand, we're going to have to switch now to our less dominant hand to do that. So my right hand's doing the kick, and my other hand's doing the less dominant pattern. 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1. So, to see what that would actually sound like, coming from the last line of bridge 2, I'm going to swap the patterns. So I've got 1, 2, and 3, and 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 1, 2. Then eighth notes in the kick. 1, 2, bridge 3. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3, 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 and 1. If you do like to do this, you're a glutton for punishment. All right, let's do the entire bridge 1, bridge 2, bridge 3 with these advanced patterns so you can hear what they sound like. All right, and all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. Ooh, nice timing. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. 8 notes. And all the earth will shout your praise. Great are you, Lord. Yeah, I'm not very good at that, so I won't play it that way when we actually play through this song. I'll keep it simple, but if you want to try it more difficult, you can. All right, let's try the song.
You give life, you are love, you bring light to the darkness, you give hope, you restore every heart that is broken. And great are you, Lord.
We're out for this chorus.
It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only.
Instrumental. All right, here we go. Verse 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You are love. You bring light to the dawn.
Patterns change.
You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord.
Same pattern for the chorus.
It's your
2. And we're out for the majority of bridge 1. But don't get complacent. We want to make sure that our entrance on the 3rd line is right on.
And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6.
Are you Lord?
Change patterns.
And all the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing. Great are you,
Change patterns again. 8 notes.
will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry, these bones will sing.
Eight notes. 16 notes. We're out. And that's pretty much it. This song is pretty straightforward. You just got to get used to alternating your hands. If you want to add in a lot of the fills that you hear on the recording, you're totally welcome to. If you want to add in those toms, totally can. But if you were to strip it down, I'd say what we did today is probably the best way to kind of approach it. All right. Have a great one, and I'll see you guys in our next class.